Good morning, Rebbe. Okay, so today we're going to go to the Rashash Siddur. So I don't know if you don't mind, just to get used to the Rashash. So I don't think we did much with the Tallit cotton, and he has over here on. I don't know if we got the same pages. I'm on page Samachay. Yeah. Are you over there, or it's just it just starts with the Kavanot for the Tallit cotton? You see that? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, you are there. Let's see. Okay, you do see it. Okay. Okay, so let's look at the top Kabbalistic of the Tallit cotton. I don't think we worked this over very much. So, not sure all of the things that he's saying, but you remember Rabbi Memram said that Rabbi Itchy Morgenstern used to come in and to say that the nai is the parts of. So he's going like this, and he says Yekavin lahamshech nai v'chagat hachagat. So chagat is the parts of, and it has these. Here you're talking about the nai and the chagat. You're talking about the vok of the chagat. So we saw that in the what is it in the see the big sefer that we deal with. Anyway, so he said the nai, the chagat, and then he says this phrase, which I really don't know exactly why it is, and he says that this is the nai, the chagat. This is the nai, the chagat, and where are they coming from? They're coming from the chub of the nai, the yasas. So why it says chub? Why does it say chabad the nai, the chab? Because you have in the parts of the nai, you have a chabad chagat nai. So here he says the chub of the nai. I don't have an answer for why it would say that, but it does, the yasas. Now I think that he's saying here, he's talking about the oros penimim, basically, and here he comes and he talks about the makiv. And he says, let's see it like this, is that the neshama is composed of a narantchi, and so is ruach. So he says that we're dealing with is, first of all, the thing you have to know is neshama. So neshama comes from bina. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but which part of it is, it's the ruach of the neshama, and then it's the nefesh and the ruach of the neshama, and it's the whole narantchi of the. Now we're making the nair into like a partzer. So it's the narantchi, all the lights of the nair of the ruach of the neshama. Now he comes and he shows us the oros. So he says, so you have here, just like this is Kesser, and then it goes down to chagat nai. So what you have here, why they're doubled, I don't know. Maybe it's from the someplace else. I'm not sure from the what's the Mutzoehim? What do we call it? I don't have the book in front of me, and my mind is really slow today. So anyway, so you see the oros here. These are all the oros coming down ultimately to the yesod at the bottom, which everything is doubled. And so then it goes to Chachma. This is the Mochin. Those are the Oros, and I guess these would be the what? These are the Mochin. So these are the Oros going into these Mochin. And what do you have in the Mochin? So you have the Moach of Chachma, and it looks like it's an Elokim. So we're dealing with continence. So it's Elokim, two Elokims. That's a double Elohim. So why it's again like that? It's and then that's with the Milui of Hayin. Then Milui of Yudim. I'm sorry, that's the one for Chochmah. The Milui of Bina is going to be a Milui of Hayin, and then both the Das of Chasadim and the Das of Gevuros are with the Milui of an Aleph. So he says now all of those lights, this is your Kavanah here, are going to the Nai v'chagat hachagat. So that is what he said up above, is going from the Nai, the Chagat Chub Denai. And now he says, and again, like I don't really have the fill in exactly why it says the ma or the ben, but he shows both the male and the female sides. The chub denai, but back over again to the chub of that nai that we said before, but this time it's going to the bina of za. So we saw up above in the very first line that he made this thing, the ranki, the ner, the ruach, the neshama. That's an indication it's coming from the bina of this of the chuba, this nine, the yasas. So and those are the oros that are coming out. So exactly what I learned from this, I'm not 100% sure. I think you'd have to learn a lot of Rashash in order to see how his language works, but let's go to the next place. So then going down to the nai of Chagat the Chagat, which is where it came from, but this time it's going to wind up in the Bina Dezah. And then you see the Gimel Kli Chochma Dezah. These are the Kalim, all of the Oros and the Mochi are going to come into these. The first part is the Chabad. Then it's going to go from there. We don't have a transition or saying that, he doesn't show Mochin and Oros and Mochin coming at the end. It's just the whole thing keeps flowing down and lower and lower until it gets to the Kli Chesed, that's the Chabad, and all the Kalim of that, and the Kalim of the Nai. So it goes all the way into there, and you would think that from there, that the next thing would happen would be that it's going to flow into Malchus, but I guess that then he says this. He says, V'hasa'aros, so where do the... Are still there? Okay, because I hear sounds like it's going to hang up. So he said, "V'hasa'aro shehem mochin the godless yimshoch loor makif." It did hang up. Okay, we're back again. So it says, now, where this exactly is coming from, he says that the v'sa'aros. I remember learning these phrases. So here we're talking about the hairs off of the head of Eric Anpin. So Havar Shehem Amochin the godless Yimshoch L'or Makif L'zah. So the Sa'aros which are shorter, they go down and they become a Makif on Zah. So here we're talking about once again the Mochin of the Oros and Mochin of coming from coming down and forming an or makif for Zer Anpin through the hairs that are coming down. Then the nimim, which are the bundles of hairs, shehem mochin the yanika, which represent the mochin the yanika, are going down, and that way they make their way to the or makif of Leah, nuk el yona, which is the upper nuk, so it comes down to the neck level. Then you have the kotzim, which is the smallest hairs, I guess, or the longer hairs, shehem mochin the ibur. They become an or makif l'rochel nok dezah. So here we're talking about the talis cotton, and we're talking about the strings of the talis cotton, representing in some way, I'm not sure I remember how, it sounds like the hair of the head of Eric Anpin. Then it says like this, V'hayechida the tzlomim hanaz, then you have this is the very highest makif level, the Shlomim Anal Naz Sheheba Bechinas Eser Shemos Ma. So the Yechida is going to shine, is going to show that. And he says there the 10 names there are 10 Ma's. Shehem Misbar Talis, which comes to the gematria of Talis. So he wants us to be able to see that. The Talis is a gematria of 400, 410, 440, 449, which is 450. That's the same thing with the kolel. That's the same thing as 5 times ma. So he says again. So the highest order of the oros makipim, of the tzlomim, which I guess brings you all the 3 that we're talking about before. Shehem bechinas eser shemos ma shehem misbar talis. Yikaven lahamshech or makif. So the idea is to take these 10, is it 10? Yeah, oh gosh. These 10 ma, the or makif, the kol hayud sefiris, the parts of Hanaz, the Zer Anpin, and he mentioned the parts of before, going backwards, it is the parts of the Nai, the Chagat, the Hub, the Nai, the Yasos. That's the parts of, and I guess it just means that it's coming way, way down in some way, to get out. And then he goes on, where are we, where are we now? He said, Bechinas Eser Shemus Ma, Shehem Mizbar Talis, Yekavin Lahamshik, or Makif, now it's a Makif, it's surrounding light. L'kol the Yud Sephiris, the parts of Anaz, the Zer Anpin, Behem Bechinas, or Makif, Hagodol, V'chayasher. So this is the Makif that we're talking about. So Yud Shemus Ma, Gematria Talis. So it's a Talis. Then it says, so that is the kavanah there is that you're bringing these 10 mas that represent, ma represents the middle parts of it. Here we were talking about the naiv chagat, the chagat is the middle parts of it. So let's just trying to make as much sense out of this as possible. He says the dalit tzitzios of the talis cotton, the mochin, the chub v'chug, of the chub v'chug, all the mochim he's talking about, shehem daled elokim, which are 4 different kinds of elokim, the yudin, the holofin, and hayim, the mochin, the betzad ima, and these are the mochin that are coming from the side of ima. So he says these are the mochin that are coming from ima. He says they're kefulim v'shazurim, they're doubled over, they're intertwined, the mochin, the betzad abba, with those mochin that come from abba. So he's talking about the mochin that are coming from bina, but they have within them combination of mochim that are coming from Abba. Then it says, and it shows the mochim. So the first one is the chub, and once again, what is it? It's aleph. What is it? Aleph. It's double letters. Double letters. The mochim look like double letters. Aleph, lamed, k, yud. So they're elokims. Okay, just analyzing them, again, is apparently it's a double elokim on each side. And then you go down to the bottom, let's see what that is. So the double elokim with the first one on the right side is with the milui of yudin, the hey yud. And then the second side is the milui of hayin, that's for bina, that's the chub. And then he says this, then we come over here, we have a milui of alofim on the hay. And then we have a milui alofim on the other side for the chug. So that's what the Rashash shows us. He shows us these are the mochim, the katnus. So then the chug, we did that as well. It's the same idea. So then all of this is flowing to the nai, the penimius, the chitzonius, the yitzira. Now, why it is the penimius and the chitzonius of the yitzira? So he says, this is what you should have in mind. Yekavin lahafrid haklipa, me'akelim deny the penimius, the chitzonius, the yitzira. So the question is, you need a lot of background to know how you got, I would, to understand why we're dealing with the penimius of the chitzonius, the yitzira, because it's a big phrase. But that's what he says, because in the chitzonius, or the penimius of the chitzonius of yitzira, he says it's possible that the kali will be there. So let's see that you could remove them in this way. So the gavana is the nai, the penimius, the chitzonius, the yitzira. So looking at that nai, that's the lowest possible place, and lower the yitzira, which is the nai, the penimius, the chitzonius. V'yakavin lahafrid or klipos mekelim the nai. So the idea is to remove the klipos from the kelim of the nai, the penimius, the chitzonius, the yitzira. But lahamshik bechem mochim mezivog the neshama. So you're going to bring to them, and this is your kavanah, I guess. You have to remember all of this. But lahamshik bechem mochim mezivog the neshama. So the mochim that come as a result of the yichud that takes place from the neshamas, the penimius, holomos, in the rantchi, the nefesh, the ruach, together with the rantchi of the nefesh. And here's a picture down below of the orus of the oros of the nine. So he says, Im narantchi the nefesh the ruach. Okay, all of that has to be worked on. Okay, so we have a few more minutes. Let's go to the Kabbalistic of the Tallit Gadol, which we've been learning, or we had learned more about. Here, it doesn't sound like it's got so much of the difficult language. He says this halacha, he says, yashlich bet tzitzios yaminim. You're supposed to take the two tzitzis on the right side, al kasef small to the left, let me see, tzitzis yaminim al kasef small over onto your left shoulder, ma'acharav to the back of a person, remez lenuk, lo keches bet tzitzios chug. So the nook, which is on the back, you're going to bring her the tzitzis that come from the front, from the right side. Now, so, okay, that's what he says it you should do. And then he says, Ubes tzitzios acherim, now the other two tzitzios, which I guess are from the left side, which the ones you're not bringing over to the left shoulder, Yesha'arab teluyim derek panav, they should remain. L'choras al trin mochin dechub shalokechas, and this is to tell you about what? The mochin dechub shalokechas b'chazarasach of the ponim, so that that is taken as it comes to, in other words, when the nook turns around and is after the Nasira. Yikavin la'amshich me kachav dachagat, so the idea is, here's the Kavanot, he says. He says, take from now you're dealing with, I guess, I'm not sure if you're dealing with godless series, so that's what he said. Yikavin lahamshik mekachav the chagat. So now you're still working in the parts of chagat, but you're working now instead of before we were learning with the nanai, the chagat, now we're learning with the kachav of chagat. And he says, once again, it's coming the nechub, the nai, and again, why he says that, but it's the highest level. The yasa. So we're dealing with yasas. Yasas is lashon what? It's lashon bina. So let's see, yas bina and chachma, I guess, of that parts of. So now he says this is nechi, which is the top level of makif, the ruach, the neshama. Once again, we're still in neshama because this is where it's coming out from, I guess. And we're really in the parts of ruach represents yitzira and Nechi represents the Chabad. So we would say what? The Nechi represents the highest level of the Ruach of the Neshama. And now he shows it to us. He shows you this is your Kavanot. Your Kavanot is that all of these, which is the Nechi, the Ruach, the Neshama, here it is right here on our stage. It's coming down and we see the Oros, coming down in through the which are the oros of the kachav chagat 9. So now moving on, and we have these are the oros coming down when you're putting on the big tallit. And now he's going to show us these are the mochin. This is the chug, the chochma, the abba. Four different. Now this what is like after the chiluf. I didn't really look over there in the Mitzoehim. So he says these are the mochin that you have to understand, or it's not mochin, these are the oros, these are the mochin, these are the mochin that are coming down, the four mochin of chokmah, the four mochin of bina, which are the chub, the bina, the abba. So he said here's the mochin, the abba. So he says they're going to be inside, and then you're going to have the middle mochin, the chub, the chug, the abba, which are the mochin, those mochin in the middle. And then you're going to come over to the chug, the chachma, the ima. And then you're going to go, those are going to go inside of the chachma of ima, and here you have the four mochin. I think we went over this in some detail in the Eitzchan, the Mensoehem. So here we have over here, just looking at them, the right side is the four mochin of chub. It's the chug of chachma are going to be different kind of yakos. Okay, they're all different kinds of yakos. So over here on the chug debina, it's going to be little 4 different kinds of akis. And then you're going to see that the chug, the das, the ima, are going to be, of course, they're split. You're going to have the whole akia. That's what it looks like. These akias look like this in that way. And then you're going to have on the left side, that's the way that it went on the side of chesed. And on the gevura side, it was, they are akis. Akus. Akus. They're akus. So to look at that or to have the time to be able to do that. So when I was in Israel, there's a group of Kabbalim in that whatever you call it, that settlement that we brought in. They asked me, we're on Tiol, and they asked me if I wanted to come to their minyan at 5 a.m. And I know I couldn't do that, but it was something to say that they're working on this. I don't know how long it takes to remember to do all this stuff. So then let's go to the next part of the flow. So he says once again, he says these are the oros, and these are the mochin, and the mochin, he says, where are they going? They're going the kochal, the chagat, the ma'u ben, the hub, the nai, the bina, the zah. So they're going into Zer Anpin, and since they're coming from bina, they're going to go into the bina of Zer Anpin. So again, this is what the code word for it is. It's the koch of the Hagat. It's the highest part of the Hagat. And then he always puts into Ma'u Ben. And we haven't really learned Ma and Ben as best we could, but that's what it is. Anyway, and so now, okay, I guess that's where we're stopping today. This is our first excursion into the Rashash. Let me show you a picture of the Rashash Siddur on the front. If you ever see anybody using this thing, you know that they're working on these things. This is Baruch Flashman.